Hello everyone, welcome back to Sailor Space. It's a beautiful year ahead of us, so I use this opportunity to say Happy New Year to everyone listening to me, connecting right now to this broadcast. It will be a beautiful year for us. Sailor Space is here to always give you beautiful and educative content ranging from CES test questions, interview examination questions for that can help you prepare accurately for your interviews, navigational questions and answers, engineering topics, engineering questions, safety questions, and all that. But today we are going to be talking on cooling. So we may actually take this topic for some time just to break it down into little aspect. But before we continue, remember to subscribe to Sailor Space, the Engineers and Navigators Hub. Or you can quickly check on our handle at Sailor Space 01. It will redirect you immediately to our YouTube page. So you can also share this link to your friends and family, like, comment, share, and spread the news so people could learn from it. So let's dive right into it. So we are taking on cooling. Then today we'll take a particular aspect of cooling. Before we continue, in what do you understand by cooling? When somebody says cooling, what first comes into your mind? What do you imagine? Reduction of heat, removal of heat. Cooling either reduces the heat or removes the heat entirely. So now we are going to take a particular aspect of cooling in relation to a marine diesel engine, and we are going to talk about piston cooling. The piston is a very important part in an engine, and if the piston is overheated, it could lead to seizure and other problems that can lead to ineffectiveness of the engine, reduction in performance, overall performance, thermal efficiency, and which can be as a result of incomplete combustion. So quickly, why do we cool our piston? If we don't cool our piston, okay, let's imagine that you are rubbing your toe palm vigorously for a period of 1 hour. What do you notice? You notice that your palms become excessively hot. Friction occurs between your toe palms. It generates heat. That's what happens. That's the reason why we need to cool the piston. Because the piston is constantly in motion, up and down, from the top deck center to the bottom deck center, either in a 4-stroke or 2-stroke engine, always in motion in relation to the engine cylinder. So this motion between the piston and the engine cylinder will cause first friction, although there is lubrication to condone some of that. But there is still need for cooling, especially in slow speed engines. So now that can lead us to the first reason why we should do piston cooling: to remove excessive heat of combustion. Now, your piston is everly going up and down, moving in the engine cylinder. During combustion, that's combustion, burning. When combustion occurs, that power is being produced to drive your engine. It generates heat. Now, when there is fire in a place, what is the easiest way for you to feel there is fire? Heat, excessive heat. So if there is no cooling for your piston, there will be excessive heat, and this heat can lead to seizure or other problems in the engine, but that's not what we're talking about today. So the first reason why we cool engine is to remove excessive heat from the piston, heat due to combustion. The second one is to reduce thermal stresses. Now, if I carry a piece of metal and put in the fire and that metal continuously burns. It keeps burning, it keeps burning, it keeps burning. It will reach a point where it becomes red hot, and I can hammer it into different shape. It will reach a point that it will reach its safety factor, and it can break. That is, it has passed its stress limit. So if we don't cool our engine, there will be thermal stress. Initially, I remember I said that cooling either removes or reduces heat. So now, another function is to reduce the thermal stresses that we have on the piston. Now, another one, the third reason. Cooling the piston can also reduce the thermal expansion of the piston. Now, when you heat up a metal, what do you think happens? The first thing that happens is expansion. Now, have you imagined, just keep thinking, engineering is about thought, imaginations. Have you imagined if the piston keeps on absorbing heat? Heat equals expansion. Piston absorb heat, heat equals expansion. So piston start expanding, and it start rubbing on the cylinder liner. It may get to a point that the lubrication that was supposed to reduce the friction between the piston and the cylinder does not work effectively. It will break the oil film, and immediately breaks the oil film, it start creating a rough surface on the engine cylinder, and it will wound the engine cylinder liner. So you see, when you cool your engine piston, it reduces the rate of this thermal expansion. So that there will be the main reason why we need to reduce this expansion in this piston is to maintain correct clearance between the piston and the cylinder liner. Because if the clearance between the piston and the cylinder liner is too much, it may break the oil film. Because when I mean break the oil film, the lubrication will not be that effective. Another reason is why we need to reduce thermal expansion is to maintain correct clearance between the piston and the piston rings and grooves. Now, when your piston keeps expanding, the grooves also expands, and the heat is being transferred to the piston rings. So when your piston expands, the grooves also expand. Your piston rings will not lap on it very well. That expansion affects, because the piston ring will just be there. It may not give that tension. Let's consider the oil scraper ring. The oil scraper ring may not be able to do the function of scraping the oil properly in the engine cylinder, and it may lead to burning of oil in this engine cylinder. That can lead to more problem, like incomplete combustion, getting black smoke from your engine, and all other stuff. So you cannot agree with me that cooling of your piston in particular, it's a very, very important aspect of your engine. As I mentioned before, it can cause seizure, because if the heat becomes too much, there can be seizure between the piston and the piston rings. That is a very big problem also. So when we have good cooling, we avoid all those things. And what do you think will happen if we can avoid all those things? The strength of the piston material will last long. That is, the strength of the piston material will be retained. It will give good lubrication. As I mentioned before, if the cooling is not effective, lubrication at a point may be ineffective. Because immediately the oil films break, there is no lubrication. Friction comes into play, and the cylinder liner and the piston rings and the piston will be worn, and it will lead to a problem. So if we maintain good cooling, we are helping the lifespan, or should I say the strength of the piston. We are helping the piston rings, we are helping the cylinder liner, and we are getting effective lubrication. And overall, it will keep our maintenance in check. It will keep overall cost of the engine in check. it will also give us good efficiency and give us good thermal efficiency also. So that is the main reason why we need to have effective cooling, piston cooling in our main engine. So when I make another video, we are going to go deep into piston cooling in large engines. When I mean large engine, I mean the slow speed engine. So we are going to discuss how this cooling is being achieved. How can we get this cooling? What are the rudiments for us to achieve this cooling? We have seen the function. Now, how do we get it? So before you log out, remember to subscribe to Sailor Space Engineers and Navigators. You can also check our handle at Sailor Space 01. Share it to your friends, comment, send a like, and support this video. Until next section, I remain your host, Engineer Dorcas Jonah. Thank you.